All right, welcome to the very first YouTube video. Been wanting to make one of these for a while, but finally decided to man up and bite the bullet. Just want to document the journey. So my name is Jake, and this channel is going to be all about documenting my process from going from my 2025 competitive bodybuilding season through to my late 2026 or potentially early 2027 bodybuilding season as well. I really want to take and document the process of how you take your body from one extreme and then how you build it up over time, develop it and make those changes that you need, and then diet back down and reveal those changes throughout. Because I think the getting on stage is cool, being super lean is pretty cool, but all of the changes that you make to your body are done within an off season. And I think, that's the coolest part of bodybuilding for me, the training and the day in, day out grind that takes to change your body, which is really cool. So, because this is an introductory video, I am going to go back a little bit and give you a bit of an outline in terms of where I've come from. I'm not going to go back to the humble beginnings or the traumas of my childhood, because we don't need to go that far, maybe in a later video, but just starting my journey. So 2018, I decided that I was going to do my local gym's 8-week challenge. So shout out to Ironworks Parks and shout out to Marky Wilden, because he pretty much started this journey for me and he was very integral in my initial stages of training. So shout out to Marky. Hope you're doing well, brother. So I signed up for my local gym's 8-week challenge, and the reason I did that was I was very, very unhappy in life. I was working a job that I hated. I was out every weekend, drinking, doing recreational drugs, all these sorts of things. And I was, finding myself, just not really enjoying life at all. And I knew that I wanted to make some changes. So at the end of 2017, I decided to sign up for the local gym's challenge, which was beginning in January. Do an 8-week challenge, stay off the drink for a while, get some discipline back, and have a goal to work towards. Because I think as a youngster, I had a lot of goals to work towards within like footy and stuff like that. But you sort of lose your way when you turn 18 and alcohol gets involved, and you start finding other interests, if that makes sense. So signed up for that challenge and absolutely loved the process. Like, lost a bit of body fat, loved the discipline of staying on the diet, and was just so intrigued in terms of how it all worked, because Marky just gave us some meal plans and I just followed that to a T and watched my body change, but I didn't really understand how it was changing, why it was changing. And from that process, I found myself really developing a passion for learning about how we build muscle, how we lose body fat, all of these things. And I was going to my full-time job, working my 8 to 12 hour day, then coming home and I was finding myself studying all things nutrition, training, from the time I got home to the time I went to bed. And I'd really developed a passion for learning about this stuff. And from there, I did that 8-week challenge in 2018, and I decided, okay, I'm going to really dedicate myself to this sort of lifestyle for a year. I'm going to, bulk up and build my body up after doing that diet phase, because, everything I'd read about putting on muscle is, you get into a growing phase and you actively push your body weight up, which is 100% true. So I embarked on that journey, still not really knowing what the hell I was doing, but, just having a crack anyway. And I did a year of that from 2018 to 2019. And at the end of 2019, I had found my passion. I was, like I said, researching all the time. I was starting to learn more and more, and I was just really, really getting into it. From there, I was like, bugger it, I'm going to do a show. So I decided, probably too early, that I was going to do my first show in 2019. And that's when I sort of started this crazy journey of bodybuilding. And within that time frame as well, I was working my full-time job in 2018, and I was also doing a PT course on the side, because I was like, all of these feelings that I feel and how I felt about my results after the 8-week challenge and the results I'm getting now, I was like, I want to be involved with other people's journeys and I want to teach them and, learn more. And, obviously that's what I want to do as a career path. And, just that one decision to, sign up for the 8-week challenge really changed the trajectory of my life, which is really cool. So I started doing my PT course in alignment with, still working full time. So it did take me a while to get through that. And within 2019, when I decided to compete, I was really, really, really hating where I was living and what I was doing. And I was like, I need to change careers. And I decided that I was going to, enroll in university, or what's that word? I don't even know what the word is. I was going to try to get into university, I suppose. And I got accepted, and that was my just ticket out of my hometown. So I enrolled in a sports science course at a university about 9 hours away, and I just backed up my car and I left. I found a room to rent on rentals or something like that. I just backed up my car and left, and started going to uni. And all the while, I had just finished that bodybuilding competition. And I was absolutely hooked to that process, and I was excited to go to uni and start my new career path, I suppose. And all that time I was doing my PT course, and I had finished that, so I had just become, I had nearly finished that, so I'd almost become a qualified PT, and then I moved away from home. And then from there, I did start uni, but I didn't really like the fact that I wasn't continuing to make money, so I was looking around for jobs and things of this nature, and I applied for a job at a local gym, basically, which was going to be a membership consultant role, and I applied for that, but I didn't get it. But the lady, or the owner, was like, would you like to be a PT here? And I was like, well, I have to do my hours as you have to do with your PT course. And she's like, if you can, be here Monday and do your hours, like, I'm going to employ you. And I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. So I finished off my course, sent all my documents over, and I was employed by the gym, and that started my career path. So since then, 2021, I've been working as a PT, and now more so as an online coach. I'm only doing part-time one-to-one PTs at the moment, and mainly online for my business. So I'll drop my Instagram page in the bio, and you can check it out if you have any coaching inquiries that you want to get across. But yeah, so basically that's my journey from 2021 to 2025. I started to build my business within the gym setting. I was actively bodybuilding the whole time, building up my body. I competed in 2023, and then from there, again, build the business, build the body, and then that brings us to the present day, where I have just finished my competitive season for 2025, where I did the IFBB shows in Australia here. So I came fourth in the middleweights at the New South Wales titles, and then I came first at the Queensland titles 1 week later, and the Nationals was a week later, but I decided to wrap the season up there, as the results that I got within those first 2 weeks really solidified where I'm at, and what I need to do to become my best version of myself. So the New South Wales titles was a very, very competitive and solid lineup. And the following week at Queensland, it was a much smaller lineup with probably not quite the caliber of that. So looking at what I need to do, the reality is I just need to build a little bit more muscle tissue to get me to where I want to be, which is ultimately I will speak it into existence in 2026 or early 2027. My goal is to win the Australian IFBB middleweight title under 80. So that's what I'll be working hard towards, and that's what I will be putting all my energy into, and that's why I am documenting this series. So what I'm going to do, if I can figure it out, is I'll put up some screenshots of my progression from 2023 to 2025, so you can have a look at that. I went from a stage weight of 65 kilos or maybe 66 kilos up to 71 kilos, so I'm just over the cap in terms of the middleweights. So at my height, which is a dismal 5'3" or 5'2.5", I think I'm 159 centimeters, 160 centimeters, so a very, very short individual. I have 9 kilos in which I can grow. So I think I'll always be a middleweight. I don't think I'm ever going to gain an extra 10 kilos of muscle from where I'm at. But that's exciting. I know with my frame, another 2 to 3 kilos of muscle, which is what I'm aiming to get within the next 14, 15 months. I'm going to be highly, highly competitive and very, very close to that goal that I want to get to. And then again, from there, the idea would be to keep progressing. So that is the introduction. I didn't want this video to be too crazy or too long. It's 10 minutes already. But like I said, this video is going to be basically me showing you how I train, how I eat. So there'll be full days of eating. There'll be, training clips and voiceovers, and, me showing you the ins and outs of sort of my process and how I go about bodybuilding, because the biggest thing to understand is, bodybuilding is different for everyone. There's genetic freaks. There are people like myself who have to fight for every 100 grams of muscle that they put on. And there's so many ways in which you can train. There's so many ways in which you can So many ways to skin a cat, so to say, but I'll just take you through my process and how I like to train, and go through the people that I have learned off throughout my time, and sort of share that with you, and share my knowledge and share my tips, which is going to be really, really cool. So I think to wrap up the video, once again, I will throw up a few physique shots, and what you will see is within my physique I have a very good set of legs on me, but the upper body needs to come up. Okay, so this off season is going to be all about bringing that up, and I managed to bring it up a lot from 2023 to 2025, but again the focus is going to be there because my legs are still very much the dominant body part. So my training split will be reflective in that, and I suppose I'll detail my training split. So Monday will be back or pull with some hamstrings tagged on. Tuesday will be push day, so chest, delts and arms, so bicep, triceps. Wednesday we will rest. Thursday will be a leg day, but we'll also have some added delts and some biceps on there as well. So basically I'm not really having a full leg day at the moment. I don't really need it. The leg volume will just be a maintenance amount of volume, and the split tailored to me will be about bringing up the upper body and allocating that extra volume to the upper body to bring that up, okay, and basically maintaining my leg size. And even with a low amount of volume, I know that I can continue to grow my legs, but it just won't be at the rate they would grow if I was obviously putting more time and volume towards that. So Thursday will be legs, delts and arms. Friday will be another pull day. Saturday will be another chest, delts and arms day. As you can see, lots of volume to the arms, lots of volume to the delts, lots of volume to the back and the chest. And then Sunday will be a rest. So that will be the initial splits. And that is how I'm going to navigate this off season. The split will, I would dare say, not change the whole time. You're going to see lots of hard training. You're going to see, like I said, my process, which is, I'm a very, very big believer in, good form, good execution, and really, really making the muscle work hard. You're not going to see anyone throwing around 4-plate bloody bench presses and all that sort of stuff when you watch me train, but you will see someone who, really has a crack in the gym, trains with really intent and focus. And throughout this whole process, I'll be giving you tips and tricks of how I sort of go about things. So there we have it, the introductory video. The second video is going to be obviously a training day, so it'll be one of my days throughout this week. I'm aiming to get out maybe 1 or 2 videos a week, maybe one to begin with. But the first video will be a bit of a training video, I think, and then from there I might show you my eating process as well. And then there'll be things like regular physique updates, and there will be any adjustments and updates that are made through me working with a coach throughout this off season as well. So there we have it, YouTube. Let's go for this growth phase 2025, 2026.